Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Xiong. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Just one day after U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met Mr. Xi for talks in Beijing on June 20th, U.S. President Joe Biden has called Chinese President Xi Jinping a dictator at a fundraising event in California. While Xi, who is unelected and wields vast power, may fit the textbook description of a dictator, political analysts said the term is loaded and rarely used by U.S. presidents to describe the leaders they hope to engage in diplomacy. It immediately drew angry remarks from Chinese Foreign Minister spokeswoman who said the U.S. seriously violated diplomatic protocol. Mao Ning said Beijing has lodged its official complaint known as a démarche with Ambassador Nicholas Burns. Démarches are used when one country wants to lodge a complaint or express an official position, and often takes place after an incident. Démarche Washington, a senior Chinese diplomat from the embassy following the discovery of the Chinese spy balloon. Many internet users are curious about why Biden suddenly referred to Xi Jinping as a dictator. To understand this, we must revisit the context in which Biden made this statement and examine the reasons behind his use of the term dictator. It wasn't an arbitrary remark, rather he provided specific examples, prompting an immediate and angry response from the Chinese Communist Party. During a recent press conference, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning stated they seriously violated diplomatic protocol and severely infringed on China's political dignity. It's a blatant political provocation. The U.S. statements are seen as extremely absurd, irresponsible in direct contradiction to basic facts, a significant breach of diplomatic etiquette, and a grave affront to China's political dignity. This has been perceived as an overt political provocation, leading to strong protests and firm oppositions from China. In the past, the CCP rarely employed such strong language to express their dissatisfaction or anger. So why is the CCP so enraged when Biden refers to Xi Jinping as a dictator? While Biden has made similar remarks in the past, the Foreign Ministry did not react as strongly before. The question arises, why intensify the response this time? Let's examine Biden's original words. According to a transcript released by the White House, Biden said, "And the reason why Xi Jinping got very upset in terms of when I shot that balloon down with 2 boxcars full of spy equipment in it is he didn't know it was there." No, I'm serious. That's what's great embarrassment for dictators, when they didn't know what happened. Biden's reference to Xi as a dictator, even if glancing, appears to be unprecedented for a sitting U.S. president in recent decades, said the Jude Blanchett, a China specialist at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. To have the world's leading power refer to him in ways that de-elevate him, I think Xi Jinping will take that personally. He wants to be seen as a peer with the United States, Blanchett said. Well, I respectfully disagree. Chinese Communist Party leaders are indifferent to being labeled as dictators by the international community. Mao Zedong even likened himself to a combination of China's first emperor Qin Shi Huang and Karl Marx, while Xi Jinping consistently draws comparison to Mao Zedong, aspiring for the Chinese people to view him as their esteemed leader. So why did Mao Ning react so strongly? It is because Biden caused embarrassment to Xi Jinping. The underlying implication of Biden's statement is that despite Xi Jinping's self-proclaimed status as a dictator in China, asserting his omniscience and omnipotence, he was unaware of the situation until it became a subject of discussion in the United States. This humiliation is particularly challenging for Xi Jinping, who portrays himself as an almighty ruler. How could such a significant event evade Xi Jinping's attention within China? How did his intelligence system fail to report this major incident to him? These circumstances underscore the embarrassment experienced by Xi Jinping as a dictator. Biden is known for frequently making verbal mistakes, and his statements often require the intervention of the US State Department or the White House to clarify and rectify. However, in this particular case, Biden's statement was corroborated by US intelligence agencies. Officials from these agencies were surprised that the president openly discussed such sensitive information in a public setting, as Xi Jinping was unaware of it. This information was gathered through specialized intelligence systems, and revealing such classified intelligence should not have been done publicly. Nevertheless, media reports suggest that an anonymous official who had access to relevant intelligence briefings confirmed that Biden's remarks accurately reflected the intelligence and internal assessments of the US government. What does this additional information imply? It verifies that US intelligence has indeed confirmed Xi Jinping's genuine lack of knowledge about the situation, which angered him. By publicly disclosing this embarrassing information about Xi Jinping to the world, Biden not only provoked a strong reaction from the Chinese Foreign Ministry, criticizing Xi Jinping as a dictator, but the main reason for the strong reaction is Biden's revelation of this classified intelligence, thereby exposing Xi Jinping's embarrassment in China to the global stage. Some internet users may argue that Xi Jinping is indifferent to such embarrassments and can simply deny them. They believe that his main concern is being labeled as a dictator, but that's not the case. Let me provide you an example. In 2020, Biden referred to Xi Jinping as a thug and stated that he lacked any democratic qualities. Even though Biden made such remarks, did the CCP criticize him vigorously? No, they didn't. The reason is that if the CCP were to defend Xi Jinping's tarnished image in the Western world, the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs would have an endless task of responding. Therefore, when Biden called Xi Jinping a dictator, it didn't directly hurt Xi Jinping, but it exposed his lack of awareness and subsequent anger to the public. This is what truly made Xi Jinping uncomfortable and triggered the strong reaction from the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This news reveals two important points. Firstly, it demonstrates that US leaders can switch between referring to someone as a good friend in one situation and labeling them a dictator in another. Xi Jinping experienced this with Trump during his presidency. One moment Trump would toast and praise Xi Jinping, calling him an old friend and the best friend. The next day, he would condemn him as evil and initiate a trade war. Xi Jinping was greatly affected by these fluctuations during Trump's 4-year term. The same pattern continues with Biden. After every handshake with Xi Jinping, Biden brings up embarrassing moment. The CCP struggles to adapt to this behavior and view it as a breach of trust. In reality, international relations, especially in competitive relationships, require a balance between engagement and opposition. The frequency and the manner of transitioning between friendship and opposition depend on each country's needs and their own rhythms. Despite being in power for 10 years, Xi Jinping has not fully adjusted to this dynamic. He is accustomed to the period when the CCP concealed its strength and patiently waited while the West welcomed China's peaceful rise. He longs for that comfortable atmosphere. However, instead of adhering to the CCP's strategy of maintaining a low profile, he provokes situations. As a result, Xi Jinping finds himself in a challenging public opinion environment, causing him distress. Another message being conveyed is whether Xi Jinping's international image as a dictator is imposed upon him by others. The Chinese people are well aware of this, and the international community also recognizes it. Therefore, When Biden refers to Xi Jinping as a dictator, the CCP shouldn't simply retaliate with personal attacks. Instead, they should take a moment to reflect on why their international image is so unfavorable. They should introspect and identify the internal reasons contributing to their negative perceptions on the global stage. Still, in a possible signal Beijing intends to limit attention to Biden's comment, the Foreign Ministry didn't include the spokeswoman's remarks in its transcript of the press conference. And the initial response by China's government-run media has been tame. The US officials noted that the Chinese state media hasn't publicized the day march, partially in the hope of seizing on momentum from Blinken's trip, and partially to avoid drawing attention to the US president's characterization of Xi as a dictator. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.